Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars, welcome to another PlayStation 4 review, and more specifically a PlayStation VR review. Now, as some of you may or may not be aware, I finally got hold of a VR headset before Christmas, and I have been slowly making my way through and picking up games as and when I see them in the sales, in the hope to get round to playing them eventually. And one that I picked up, it's a few weeks ago now, in the PlayStation PSN sale, is the Perfect Sniper, and I picked this up for an absolute steal. I think it was probably $2.99, $3.99, certainly in the UK. So for someone who's just newly got a VR headset to try and experience as many VR experiences as possible for as cheap as possible, really, it seemed like a good idea to pick this one up at the time. And what is this game about? Well, I've put a few hours into this game now. It's not one of those games that you need to put endless hours into to do an effective review on it, because it's a pretty simple game, I think it's fair to say. Now, you are a hitman, basically. You are driven to locations by your handler, I guess you could say that. There is a little bit of voice acting involved, and it's primarily from your handler, who will talk to you through earpieces and things. And it's your job at different locations in this city to take out targets. And there's an ever-growing number of missions to do it. And by that I mean I haven't completed the game. You just keep going, and it's the same scenario on most cases. You're on a certain location and you've got to take out your target, and sometimes it's not specific in which target you need to take out. You might only get certain bits of information, like your target will be wearing a blue shirt and is dark skinned, or your target has just been given a piece of information and so they're clearly going to be angry, so you've got to look for the one that looks the most angry on the map and take them out. Or you've got to keep it on the down low, so you'll be taking out targets in a thunderstorm and only fire the weapon when the thunder takes place, things like that. So it does vary the specifics depending on the map, the location that you're on, which part of the levels you're on, but the outcome's the same. You've got to take out your target with your rifle. There are some driving sections thrown in, as you can see here. This is an example of one, and it is basically, for the most part, the doors open at the back and you've got to take out the enemies that are chasing you, or sometimes you've got to take out people as you're driving past them at speed, sort of thing. You've got to be able to recognise them and shoot them quickly. Doesn't really get much more complicated than that, this game. Now, you can use a few different versions of controllers for this game. You can use Move controllers, or you can use the wireless controller. Now, I don't have Move controllers. I haven't bothered purchasing them because they're really expensive, and until they become really cheap I'm not going to bother with them. So I use the wireless controller with this, and I'm not going to lie, I found it really fiddly. Sometimes on some maps it's quite easy to use, on other maps really a nightmare to use and get used to the controller, and that is my biggest gripe of this game, is the controlling. So my suggestion would be use the Move controllers, even though I can't comment if that's a better way to do it, but it can't be much worse than using the wireless controller. I have to be honest, I found it really frustrating. It's not particularly challenging, the game. Like I say, it does give you certain objectives on certain missions that spice it up a little bit, I suppose, but it's the same thing. You're shooting your weapon and killing people. And then it gets broken up with a driving section here and there, and it's a very basic game. The game actually looks a little bit better than I expected. It's not, obviously, as you can see here, it's not like realistic graphics or anything, and this view that you're looking at now probably doesn't do it a great deal of justice, because when you're in a VR headset it does make it a little bit more immersive, I'm not going to lie, but it's certainly not the best graphics you're going to see on a VR game, but you do still feel quite immersed at time. It can get a little bit frustrating, like I say, the repetitiveness of the missions it's one of those games that you'll be able to pick up dirt cheap, play for 2-3 hours, put it down, and probably not be that bothered to play again at some point, maybe at parties and things like that, or maybe, you know, to give someone a VR experience. It's cheap enough to pick up to give yourself a little bit of a VR experience. It is very, very cheap, and but it's certainly nothing special from my perspective. I mean, I'm really trying to catch up with a lot of the VR experiences. There's been so many VR games released now on the PlayStation 4. It's trying to rifle through what I can use, because like I said, I don't have any Move controllers, so I'm only using ones that are compatible with wireless controllers, and ones that are cheap. You know, I don't want to pay full price for games that have been out a while, so I'm looking to pick things up slowly in sales for VR, and I've enjoyed quite a lot of the things that I've experienced so far. I've reviewed Blood and Truth on the channel fairly recently, and I did enjoy that game. I thought it was very, very good, but I did find the controls quite difficult on that one, and it seems to be a recurring trend, so I may have to upgrade and get myself the Move controllers at some point. So in regards to a VR experience then, what am I going to rate this one as? I mean, it's only a quick review, it's not an in-depth game, it's quite there is some fun to be had in this game, but it isn't one that you're going to lose hours in. It's just a kind of pick up, put your headset on, and see what you get out of it. Really, it's nothing special. The graphics aren't special. The gameplay is exactly what you'd expect on a game that is called The Perfect Sniper. You know, sounds are pretty good. Like I said, there's a little bit of voice acting. The immersion is decent enough, but I'm sure there are many, many more VR titles out there, certainly far better than this. So I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. It's a very basic experience, but it also a cheap experience, I would imagine. So if you're looking for a fairly cheap experience on PlayStation VR and you're into like Hitman type games, there's some gameplay here probably that you will enjoy, but it's nothing special certainly. So that is my review for The Perfect Sniper. Let me know if you've got any VR recommendations, and I will try and check them out, and I hope you enjoyed this review.